This is the Pheasant Leech. This is based on a pattern by Ross Mueller out of Wisconsin. Ross's pattern was tied with turkey marabou. This one, however, is tied with ringneck pheasant. This is a tremendous fly for large fish in driftless area streams, including those here in Iowa where I live. And I'm going to show you how to tie it. I have caught numerous fish from 16 to 20 inches, brown trout, wild browns, in the spring creeks on this pattern. If I had to choose one fly to use for big fish in our streams, I would probably use it. Use this fly here. So let's give this a tie. Start with a Daiichi 2220 number 8 hook, and this is just a craft bead, a black glass craft bead. It's a size 6/0 bead. You get this at any hobby or craft store. This is a heavily weighted fly. I use 25 thousandths inch diameter lead-free wire and at least a dozen wraps, probably 12 to 15. You want to cover about 2/3 of the shank with this. That's probably good. And just snap that off with your fingernail on that end. Do the same over here, holding the wraps and then snapping it off with your other hand. The thing I don't like about the lead-free wires is it's not quite as soft as lead, and lead breaks nice and easily with your bare hand, but some of the substitutes don't. The thread is Big Fly B thread. Very rugged thread. It's thick, so don't get carried away with wrapping, otherwise you'll end up with too much thread on the hook. Just use just enough to kind of cinch things down. That's all you need to do. Now go all the way to the back of the shank, the rear of the shank, just above the hook point, or the hook barb, excuse me. Now on a pheasant skin, down near where the pheasant's legs join the body, you'll find these soft grayish marabou feathers, and these are perfect for imitating a leech, because the real leeches that live in nature out in the streams are not like the great big black ribbon leeches that you buy at the bait shop. They're not 6 inches long and jet black. They're a light mottled gray, and they're maybe 2 to 3 inches long when fully elongated, and they're relatively thin too. I'm going to stroke this down a bit, maybe use a little bit of saliva on my fingers to stroke that down, and I'm going to tie it in where it's about 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 times the length of the shank. Just going to give it a loose gathering wrap and a couple of good tie downs right there. Now, not going to go wrapping up tightly over this. I'm going to lay it down along the top of the shank. Use my free hand then to throw some ribs in the fly. So one turn to advance, another turn to give it a little rib, and just keep doing that toward the front of the fly. Get all the way to the front, I'll clip off the excess. I'll go loosely back over this, open spirals, and now I'm actually going to dub some marabou. I take this soft material right here, and I'll actually clip that off. I'll make myself a little pile of it. I clip it instead of pulling it off, because if you strip it off with your fingers you can get pieces of the stem and it makes the fly look goofy. So I've got a pile of this marabou here that I've already stripped off, and I'll dub that on. First I get a little wax onto my thread, help it stick, because this marabou, sometimes you can have a hard time getting it to stick versus thread or fur. It doesn't stick quite as well as fur. I lay it on there, and if I need to, I'll put a little more wax on my finger, rub it between my thumb and forefinger, and apply that to that dubbing rope. Get a nice big long rope of that marabou. Start laying that on in a tapered body. When I get up near the front half, I'm going to dub thicker than that rear portion. Looks like I need just a tad more. A little more on there. There, that looks good. At this point, I'll go ahead and finish off this fly with my whip finisher. Just a few turns with the whip finisher, which I dropped. Alright, that's good. That is stout thread. Now, I take a little dubbing brush, which I made with just a patch of Velcro, onto the handle of an X-Acto knife. You could use a pencil, an old pencil. And I'm just going to lightly stroke some of that fly from the, or that those fibers of the marabou from the front of the fly. And there you have it. This fly can be fished dead drift, or you can fish it with a light pulsing retrieve. You can fish it down and across on a swing. Or you can just crawl it along the bottom of a deep pool. Any of those presentations works well with this, this pheasant leech.